18. The comments from the MP David Davies come after several newspapers today questioned the age of a group of teenage boys who arrived in the UK from the Calais refugee camp to be reunited with their families. He says British people need to be able to have faith in the asylum system.
We mustn't be naive about this. I mean, it's no good Lily Allen turning up with tears in her eyes and all the rest of it. We need to be quite hard-nosed here. People are desperate, I understand that, and they will say what they need to say to get in. There is a test that will determine people's age. It's used across the world, and all I'm saying is that that is one of the tools that we could use.
We're joined by Douglas Murray from The Spectator and Lily Kerr from the Workers' Party. Welcome to both of you. Lily, you saw these pictures, didn't you?
I did.
In the papers.
Yeah.
Did they look like they were under 18, these young men to you?
I never give it a thought.
Some people thought they looked like they were 40-year-olds.
Well, maybe if some people had lived in a camp and lived in actually sort of a war zone, they might look actually older than their age.
If I were to show you and prove to you that they were actually 38, would that make a difference in your mind?
Well, I would say we should be letting people in and we should be doing our duty. But I think the real story should have been, why have we only taken in so far 2 groups of 14 people? And why are we treating human beings like horses, saying, let's look at their teeth, when in fact the British Dental Association has come out and said that this is inappropriate, it is unethical, and it is not a way of proving someone's age, whether you can identify someone been over 18. And I'm not sure that face recognition, I don't know enough about it to put my trust in it to say that it's absolutely right.
Douglas Murray, what do you think?
Well, I think that David Davies is perfectly within his rights as an MP to raise this question. I think a lot of people looking at the photographs of the children they're alleged to be that came in to Britain will be asking the same questions. And I think that if we want our democracy to work, it means that we have to be able to talk about concerns, and that includes allowing MPs to speak about concerns. This is, by the way, it should be flagged up, this is not, he didn't get this from nowhere. If you travel to any of the points of entry across southern Europe, as I've done, or to any of the countries which are bringing in migrants, as I've done, all of them have concerns and questions about so-called Peter Pan refugees, people who claim to be children and are clearly not. If you speak to people who work with children in any of the countries like Germany, Sweden, that have taken in very large numbers of migrants in the last year, they always refer to the fact that they have an alarmingly large number of people who claim, for instance, that their birthday is on the 1st of January. Look, this is happening, so it is something that clearly needs to be addressed, because if people are being allowed into the UK because they are children, but they are not children, then we have a problem. But a final thought on this, which is this. If, as your other guest says, we should allow them in regardless, then this means that anyone who illegally gets to France, illegally gets to Calais, and then says, I'm here, should be brought into Britain. Now, Britain has a process for legal asylum claims. You may dislike that, but that is there. People who get to Calais have broken the rules of that, have broken ahead of the people who have made asylum applications in the proper way. And I think it's very unwise, to say the least, to reward people for doing that.
Well, let me just check that point with Lily Kerr. Is it your view that we should just open the doors and let people in willy-nilly without any kind of security tests?
I'm saying that there are tests there, that they do carry out tests.
Surely one of those tests should be the age of the person.
And I'm given to understand that there is tests goes on, that social workers and other officials exactly...
But we need to have confidence in that test. The public needs to have confidence in that test. If we've got the age test wrong in some cases, can we have confidence in the other parts of the testing?
Well, I think we can, unless they can prove definitely that there are a number of people who've come in actually claiming they were a certain age, and that this happened. I imagine that we'd be parading them on television and in all of the newspapers.
Parading in the newspapers right
now?
Well,
no. What they done was actually take photographs of vulnerable people coming out of the jungle, as we call it, in actually very stressful situations, and invaded their privacy. They've went through enough without actually cameras snapping at them, and then people actually putting them through another trauma of saying they're not the age, etc. I mean, there has to be a different way of handling that. We cannot leave it to the media and certain sections in the media to say that you should do this or you should do that, or we've carried out some sort of test and we believe that individual is older than that. And I want to take the point that Douglas has made about them illegally getting there. Surely it's quite, allowable under the Dublin Treaty that they can get to Calais and actually decide that they can go to another country of their choice.
No, it's not. It's not actually correct. Under the Dublin Treaty, anyone who arrives should claim asylum in the first country of entry. So when they get into Italy or to Greece or sometimes to Spain, they have to claim asylum there. That's the wording of the Dublin Treaty. They are not meant to not claim asylum in the first country of entry and then, as it were, shop around in Europe for a country they would like to go to.
I stand corrected. I'll not read right-wing papers again because it was out of one of those papers that I lifted that statistic.
You could just read it in the third iteration of the Dublin Treaty, which is what you're referring to, I think. Yeah. The really important point under this, if I can say so, is this. We in Britain and I think everywhere in Europe have a really terrible public discussion on this. What is happening at the moment with the migrant crisis across Europe is one of the biggest stories of our time, and it is leading to some of the biggest societal changes that our continent has ever seen. And it is really strange to my mind that all of the discussion in this keeps on being shut down. An MP, a backbench MP for goodness sake, it's not like it's the Prime Minister or the Leader of the Opposition, says, we should have good tests. And there's this enormous outpouring of rage against him for speaking about this. The reality is we have to have this debate, and we have to have it very widely and properly, because otherwise it's going to go badly wrong. And let me tell you what I mean by that very quickly. We have to have a discussion about whether Britain should, as my fellow guest here thinks, allow in everybody who wants to come here, regardless of their legality or illegality of their entry, and regardless on the justice of their claim or the truth or lies of their application. And many of us think that that is very, very unwise, that Britain and Europe cannot be the home for anybody in the world who wants to be here, and that we could have a workable asylum system, but that the British people, I think quite legitimately, are very worried at the moment that our asylum system and our migration system in general has broken down to some extent. So that is why when an MP raises a concern, instead of trying to squash it and shut him up and so on, we should welcome it, because we need to be having this debate, but we need to be having it a lot deeper than
that's what we're doing. We're not shutting him.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.